Welcome to another episode of Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, I don't know if y'all seen this, but the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a documentary on Netflix coming out on August the 19th, and I cannot wait for that. I remember when the Chicago Bulls documentary came out, The Last Dance, and someone has said, "Can you imagine what it would be like if they did a documentary on the Dallas Cowboys? It would be absolutely nuclear." Well, yeah, here it is because it's coming out August 19th, and I think it's going to be absolutely nuclear. Okay, I think it's going to be nuclear. We're in June, July, August, so we have to wait for another 2 months. Okay, and so I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So when Tony Romo was at the end of his career, I didn't want to see him end his career with another team. I didn't want to see him end his career with the Broncos, the Texans, the Steelers. I wanted to see Tony Romo retire as a Dallas Cowboy, and he did. Okay, so let's backtrack to 2003. Okay, the Cowboys had just came off their third consecutive 5-11 season. Okay, and a regime change was made. Bill Parcells was brought in. Okay, and it was supposedly that it was Jerry Jones who said, "Hey," Jerry Jones said to Bill Parcells, he said, "Bill, you going ahead and worry about the rest of the roster. I'll handle Emmitt Smith." Okay, and so that's essentially what happened. Parcells dealt with the roster. Jerry Jones handled Emmitt Smith, and I could say, seeing Emmitt Smith as a Dallas Cowboy, seeing Emmitt Smith in the Arizona Cardinals uniform just did not look right. Emmitt Smith ending his career with the Arizona Cardinals just didn't look right. Okay, and so no, and so when the Arizona Cardinals signed Emmitt Smith, people were really scratching their heads, saying this was a publicity stunt or whatnot. And the Arizona Cardinals played the Dallas Cowboys that year in 2003, and Emmitt did come back to Texas Stadium as a Arizona Cardinal, and Emmitt Smith said when he came there, he cried. He cried, knowing he had to come back to Texas Stadium as an Arizona Cardinal. But NFL Films had him ranked as the number 10 worst free agent signing. Okay, the NFL does a top 10 show, top 10 best games, yada yada yada, whatnot. And according to NFL Top 10, he is the 10th worst free agent signing of all time. Okay.
The number 10 worst free agent signing of all time. Emmitt Smith to the Cardinals. Let's go, team. Let's go, baby.
Emmitt Smith's the all-time leading rusher.
But Emmitt Smith does the impossible.
NFL Films, of all the people to have top 10 as one of the worst free agent signings, I think Emmitt's going to be mad at you guys.
After 17,000 rushing yards and 3 Super Bowls,
He's got undoubtedly one of the best backs in the NFL ever.
our number 10 worst free agent signing was a Cowboy who decided to head farther west.
What up, fellas?
In 2003, the Arizona Cardinals solicited the NFL's all-time leading rusher with an attractive offer. A 2-year contract worth $8 million.
What is that about?
Yeah, I remember being at the owners' meetings and the news broke they're going to sign Emmitt Smith, and we're all thinking, wow, a 34-year-old running back, that's the answer for this team.
I guess you take cash that check there. The sad thing is that Emmitt should have never played in another uniform. I just can't picture Emmitt Smith full blood red. He's a cowboy. He should have never left for their
Emmitt Smith wearing the bird on the side of the head, you just kind of knew it wasn't going to work.
hands for Emmitt running left over the ball.
Everybody knew Emmitt Smith was done. At those days, it seemed like the last team to know anything was the Arizona Cardinals. So they're holding up Emmitt like, oh, we just got this guy, we're expecting him to lose 10 years, right before your very eyes.
And if anybody wants to give $8 million to me when I can barely walk, I'll take it.
You look at the Emmitt Smith signing and you wonder how much of that was a publicity stunt.
That's all we want to see. Emmitt Smith.
The Cardinals didn't give millions to Emmitt Smith because he was a great football player. They wanted a billboard for downtown Phoenix. They wanted people to go to their games.
There's nothing like a man that knows why he's here and does what he likes to do.
The low point of the whole thing was week 5. Emmitt went back to Dallas, and it was a train wreck. I mean, he had 6 carries minus 1 yards rushing, got knocked out of the game early on. So he finished the game with more shoulder injuries than rushing yards.
For the majority of his...
Yeah. So as you saw, Roy Williams took out his former teammate, Emmitt Smith. Yeah, Roy Williams completely took him out. 6 carries, minus 100 yard, shoulder injury. And, yeah. It's like Norm said. We just couldn't picture Emmitt Smith full blood red. He's a cowboy, right?
Career Smith sparkled on the NFL stage, but in his first season with the Cardinals, Emmitt rushed for only 256 yards, which works out to roughly $31,000 a yard. Emmitt Smith is no doubt one of the all-time greats, but he's also the number 10 worst free agent signing of all time.
It's just a shame that tacked on to the end of his career on his resume now is that sort of downhill slide as an Arizona Cardinal.
Emmitt Smith should have been taken away in handcuffs for stealing money. That's what should have happened.
The number 9 worst
That was kind of funny when Howard Eskin said Emmitt Smith should have been taken away in handcuffs for stealing money. That was funny, right? So yeah, every confident player in the NFL talks trash. Okay, Hall of Famers talk trash. Run-of-the-mill players talk trash or whatnot. Michael Irvin was one of the most notorious trash talkers in the NFL. Okay, that's what made him so great, was he talked trash and he always backed it up. Okay, but there was this one time where he did talk trash and it backfired. Okay, let's throw it back to 1991. Okay. We were playing the Eagles in week 3, okay? And it's like Daryl Johnson said, every time we played the Eagles, toughest games of the year. Just brutal, physical battles, okay? And so, in the week leading up to the game, Seth Joyner talked about that game. That was the game Troy Aikman got sacked 11 times, okay? Yeah. That's a game Troy sacked 11 times. Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Mike Pitts, Clyde Evans. Bad game. Anyway. So 90 yards of offense. 11 sacks, all added up to a 24-0 shutout. Okay, so the Eagles were supposedly fired up by comments made by Michael Irvin during the week. Okay, Michael Irvin supposedly said that the Eagles secondary had a bunch of midgets. Okay, yeah, he called the Eagles secondary midgets. So basically, he called Andre Waters, Wes Hopkins, and Eric Allen, and can't remember if it was either Ben Smith or Isaiah Jenkins, someone like that. He all called them midgets. Okay, and so yeah, I think the Eagles took great exception to Michael Irvin calling their secondary midgets, and you saw what happened. Actually, the Eagles had a guy by the name of Rich Miano. He intercepted Troy Aikman 2 times, okay? And Seth Joyner actually had a pick of his own, okay? Yeah, so Michael Irvin called it the Eagles secondary midgets. Backfired. Big time. Big time. So I just mentioned how Netflix is coming out with a documentary on the Dallas Cowboys, okay? And which leads me to ask this question. Will the 95 Cowboys, if social media existed in 1995, would the 95 Cowboys survive in social media? And my question would probably be no. Okay? Because look at all the things that they went through that season. Okay? Or as Larry Brown said, we were dealing with something every single week of that season. Okay? I'm gonna try to go week by week so I can remember. Week 1, we lose Kevin Smith for the season to a knee injury. Jerry Jones does his own individual marketing with Nike, and he ends up getting sued by the NFL. We signed Deion Sanders. Troy Aikman was accused of playing soft against the Washington Redskins, who were coached by Norv Turner, and said they're saying Troy was going easy on Norv Turner because Norv was a former offensive coordinator for us, and so then the Super Bowl rematch, we got crushed by the 49ers. Leon Lett and Clayton Holmes get suspended for drug violations. Leon Lett eventually comes back that season. Okay. Larry Brown tragically loses a child during the season. Let's see. And then Troy Aikman was accused by one of the assistant coaches, John Blake, of being a racist. Okay, yeah, that situation happened. That situation occurred when we were playing the Redskins at home, and Kevin Williams, one of the wide receivers, he ran the wrong route. Okay, and Troy Aikman got pissed and said, "Kevin, get this effing right." Okay, and so John Blake thought that was racist. John Blake thought that was racism by Troy Aikman. Lord have mercy. Give me a break. Give me a break. Okay. Then there was 4th and 1 in Philly. Troy Aikman and Barry Switzer didn't have a relationship. So yeah. Out of all those things that I said, okay, Would the 95 Cowboys survive in the social media age? And I would say no. Okay, you have all those things happen in a single year. Not to mention the stuff that was unreported. Okay, not to mention the stuff that was unreported, because there's probably some more stuff that's probably going to be revealed in the documentary on Netflix. So the things that I just named, that was just probably the tip of the iceberg of what went on behind the scenes. Not just with the 95 Cowboys, but the Cowboys dynasty as a whole throughout the early to the mid part of the 1990s. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking forward to the documentary though, and I would say it's gonna show us stuff that is gonna blow our minds. Okay, not just Cowboys fans' minds, but people who love football too. Okay, so can't wait for it. All right, that's it, and that's all for Classic Dallas Cowboys Talk. May God bless you all. I am out.
Cowboys. What's my blue and gray team? Cowboys. And who I'm rolling with, huh? My Cowboys. Steelers better get it right. Giants better get it right. Who? Cowboys. What's my blue and gray team? Cowboys. And who I'm rolling with, huh? My Cowboys. Eagles better get it right. Skins better get it right.